Welcome to the Boundary Riders podcast, your one-stop shop for all your AFL content needs.
He looks at his options, and Jack Ginnivan says, "Boys, you brought me to the club to do just this!"
But this guy has flog written all over him.
From attack down, Reed sprints away from Petrarca, leaves him in his wake, takes a second bounce, takes a third. The sheer arrogance of Harley Reid. Finish the job, young man!
So let's get into the footy news from the week that was. All right, let's move into the Tasmania Devils. So there's been some recent news come out regarding Nathan Buckley as the leading candidate for the Tassie job. So, of course, they come in 2027 expected at this stage. I don't know about the ground. Who the fuck knows? But they should be coming in 2027. That's the basic.
Yeah. This is basically just saying that if they when they get the ground and all that, everything goes to plan besides the coach.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
basically, best case scenario, they're looking at the next coach. Nathan Buckley seems to be the front runner. So in a recent, I think it was on SEN, it was in fact, when asked from Jared Healy if there's a chance that he would coach the Tasmania Devils, he said there was a chance, and he also said that the Devils have been extremely keen to advance. This is from John Ralph. They said they're extremely keen to advance talks. The Devils with Nathan Buckley, who has been seen as the strong favourite, for now. So I thought today we'd cover maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 coaching candidates and rank them on, most likely to least likely. So I've given my 3 best candidates for the Tassie job and then my smoky. So at number 3, obviously he's going to be leaving his job at the end of the year. I've gone with Ken Hinkley. At number 2, I've gone with Nathan Buckley. My number 1 pick, and maybe seem a little bit biased, but I think John Longmire would be the best candidate for Tassie, and I'll explain why. I think all 3 of them would be good. I'll start with Ken Hinkley because he's third. I think that at a starting, he's always been an emotional coach, and I think that as a starting a team, I think that's a great way to build culture. He built Port Adelaide from cellar dweller losers that were basically at the point of extinction to a relevant team again. So I think, all right, you're saying that now, but he brought you from, you don't even, if you sat there, if you were 10 years ago, before he was there, you'd be sitting there going, I would like to just win a couple of games in the year. You made finals nearly every year under Ken Hinkley.
Yeah, you're right. But after the last 3, since about the 2020 season, when we were pretty much at the top, but we couldn't kick our way to the grand final, it's kind of been like, this is probably more at Koshy than it is at Ken, but he should have moved on.
I think, he should have been moved on at the end of the last season, obviously. And maybe there'd be a little bit less angst around it. But now every single Port fan is like, just get rid of him, get in Josh Carr if we have to do it now.
Yes.
This isn't about Ken, though. But anyway, I think that he would be a great starting coach. We've obviously seen him being able to build a squad, build a team as well that's been able to beat up teams above their weight. Port Adelaide have always been, at least for the last 2 years or so, they've been on the list side of things. They haven't been very good. But they've been able to make prelim finals, make finals series, So
he's always been on the winning side of the ledger.
Yeah,
since he's taken over.
He's been a very good home and away season coach. Yeah. And yes, the finals haven't been great. We obviously know that. But if we're starting a team out, I think that Ken Hinkley would be a good candidate for them.
Yeah.
On Nathan Buckley, I do think he's a good coach. I think that we did see that in the years gone by. He was very good at Collingwood, but didn't get them to the pinnacle, obviously. I would be interested on the Nathan Buckley side, though. I think he is probably second best in my opinion. But could he coach another team? He's been so heavily Collingwood for his whole life. Could he coach another team? Could he be another team's, whatever? I mean, he left the Brisbane Bears after 1 year, went to Collingwood. Has been Collingwood his whole AFL career, his whole playing career. Then he went to assistant coach of Collingwood. Did he do anything before that? I don't think he did.
Don't think he did, no.
So he was an assistant, then became the head coach of Collingwood, and now sits in the media and protects Collingwood. Not that, come on,
I think it's a little different for, him. If he was coaching any Victorian team, I don't think he'd ever do it. Any vacancy in a Victorian team. I don't think he'd ever do that because of his love for Collingwood. But I think it's a little different for a first team in Tasmania. Whoever the inaugural coach is, it's a huge deal. So I think it's a bit different. I think Brendan Gale has a lot to do with it, like the way that he's obviously come out and said they want like his attributes as a coach.
Yeah.
Nathan Buckley. I think there's a difference there, and I don't think it's going to make a difference if it's he's been a Collingwood man his whole life.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that that's more than fair. Now, the reason why I put John Longmire at number 1 is because I think he's shown basically both ends of the coaching scale. He's been at Sydney for so many years with Paul Roos. He's obviously seen the worst of the worst around the Sydney Times to the best of the best when he saw the premiership in 2005, and when he won it in his second year as coach in 2012. He's also had to build through a rebuild-ish era, but he also helped build that list from the end of it towards 2017 to go back down for a few years to then come back up, and then we're back to a pretty decent spot. Obviously, at the moment we're fucking 13th, but we won last week, so we're pretty good now. We're back on premiership. Brisbane were down at this stage, this time last year, so we're in each chance. But what I mean is he's been at both ends of it. I think that overall he could. Now, obviously, he hasn't done from a starting of a club, which I mean is obviously very difficult, which we'll get to with our Smokey in a minute. But I think that John Longmire as a whole would be the best of the best. I think that he's coached through different eras of football as well. It was a very heavy, contested stoppage sort of game back in the mid 2010s or whatever when Sydney won the premiership. But then he was able to evolve his game plan to be a lot more of a faster attacking game. Where you saw Sydney last year were very much pressure side. Speed of ball movement with good foot skills. Yeah. So I think that he's been able to play different roles and has shown different versatility and can work with what list he's got. And I think he's also been the head coach of a team that's built a team. And I think obviously with the Sydney culture, I know I'm just flogging off Sydney, but the Sydney culture's been around for years now. It's always been highly documented. I think that's a great build. So that's me. On my Smokey though, and it's someone that I don't really think I've heard much about, it's Leon Cameron. He's still in the AFL. He's with the Swans right now, and that's not the reason why I'm picking him as a Smokey. But he was with the Giants from day one, basically. He was there as an assistant for a few years under Kevin Sheedy, and he was there with the new team. He's been with a team that's from the beginning, from the outset, and he obviously became their head coach a couple of years after. 2014 he took over, and obviously was there when they won in their first grand final, their first final series. This guy could be. I think he should be someone that's been taken a look at. And I mean, he's very good in the years for the Giants as well. They were always pretty successful. They're always up there when they got their first final series 2 years after he became the head coach, and they made finals every year until 2020 when he missed out, and that's when he lost his job. 2021, I think he lost his job. But I think that Leon Cameron could be a chance. I think he's built a team from the ground up. He's been there from the start to almost the pinnacle. Yeah. So I think that's why Leon Cameron's a bit of a smoky chance for me. I think that's where they could be looking at. I think at this stage it looks like it's leaning towards Nathan Buckley, which is okay. I don't have a real issue with that. But I think that personally for me, if I was leading a team right now, from coaches that won't have a job, who would be looking for a job if they were looking for one, because I think they're going to need one. If they are to come in perfect timing at 2027, they are going to need one probably, I think, next year.
They're saying that that's when they want to make the announcement at the end of this year to the start of next year.
Yeah, I think that's when you kind of want it. So have you got a couple of different candidates you've thought of?
I'll just point it out there. My number one is probably going to be Nathan Buckley. I think that's pretty obvious. Especially the last couple days. My two two other candidates are Chris Fagan and is Adam Simpson.
Oh, okay.
I think Adam Simpson's a bit different because the fact is that I know he's not going to go back to Perth and do any of that. I think he likes the media, and we've seen him get to the pinnacle, and we've seen him have to try and rebuild, even though that maybe the West Coast board didn't want to really do it. But I think if he wants to do it, I think he can do it. Yeah. Chris Fagan, I think if Brisbane the next 2 years will be up there. Does he have the appetite to want to go back to his home state and start that again? I think he does. I think he may want to do it.
Yeah.
So
He has said in more recent times, though, that he is most likely that this would be his only coaching role.
yeah.
So that is something. But I do agree. And it would be fitting if it was a Tasmania local
That's
who
what
was
I
the head
think.
coach.
Yeah, I think part of you have to kind of think of maybe the fairy tale thing in that.
Yeah, I mean, imagine like the first Tassie team, first Tassie coach. The first Tassie coach is Tasmanian. The inaugural captain is Matt Rao. No, I'm trying to think of a Tasmanian. Probably Riley Sanders or a Colby McKercher or someone like that. You'd think.
What's his name? Was it? It's not Steely
Robbie Fox. I mean,
No,
the inaugural captain.
It's not Robbie Fox. It's
Seth Campbell.
Yeah.
Is he Tasmanian?
I think yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I reckon he'd be good. That's why he's not leaving Richmond till. But
To be fair, I think he has said that he wants to stay at the Tigers no matter what. But I mean, when you get that huge pay packet in front of you.
Yeah, I think you're kind of like, yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
And my Smokey, he's been in the AFL coaches boxes for many years and had a chance. 10 years ago in Justin Lepage.
Okay, so he's been at Brisbane for a very long time. He was at Brisbane coach for a while.
Yeah. Then he's been an assistant at Richmond and Collingwood.
He's at Collingwood now.
Yeah. So I think if you're looking at it, I think he's done a lot in the last I don't even remember when he took over when he was at Brisbane. 10 years ago at least. 10
Yeah, I would have been probably even longer than that. I think because when Lee Matthews took over. Stepped down. Michael Voss did it for a couple of years, and then Justin Lepage came over for a couple of years, and then eventually, I think it was then Chris Fagan. So it would be around 10 years, I would say.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't mind that idea. I mean, I think they would. I mean, I don't mind the Smokey idea. I think that they would want to go with someone who's done a little bit more head coaching more recently.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they did want to go with a head coach, because they are going to go with someone who's coached before.
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious.
That's obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind that call though. I mean, I think that mine's better, but I don't mind that call though.
I didn't think about it.
No, I didn't think of that. Was out of left field. I was thinking you were going to say someone like, Chris Scott. It's like, yeah, I mean, fucking Chris Scott's not.
Like, nah. I don't think he'll want to leave Melbourne.
Yeah.
He's got too many other jobs that he's got.
Oh yeah,
in
what's
the
his?
background.
Yeah, what's he? A finance broker or something
don't
now?
even
Something
know
fucking
anymore.
stupid. Yeah, I mean,
The AFL just tick that off as much as they do the.
Chris comes in an hour a month to fucking tick off a paycheck or something. Oh yeah, I was there for an hour, boys. Yeah,
he
you
ticks
get.
off them books and then he goes to the AFL. It's like, yeah, our books are fine. Tick that off as well.
Yeah, Chris Scott's like, do I get 6 figures a year or 7 figures a year for this job? And they're like, just write down your own paycheck. Yeah, that's all right. And I get paid $400K a year at Geelong. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's all good. Yeah, fucking what a shady shit is that.